beautiful people. My name is Rachel Dorsey, and thanks for stopping by. Long time no see. I took a break from filming YouTube videos because I kind of felt like I was wasting my time, but I decided to come back because I needed to document something really special. And you might be wondering, Rachel, why are you dressed for graduation? Well, there's two answers to that. It is not graduation day. In fact, I am still finishing up my semester. But those answers are, I was asked to speak at my graduation, and so I had to film a video beforehand since it's virtual. And I just finished doing that. And as its title suggests, I am doing something pertaining to graduation. So I just decided I was going to leave this on because it looked cute, and I have a feeling as soon as I take this off, all of the foundation on my forehead is going to be ripped off. So I'm just going to leave it on. But in high school, I was so lucky and got to speak at my graduation. It was my dream to give a graduation speech, and I graduated #1 in my class, so I was able to do that. And it was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. I was so happy to be able to achieve that. So I was really proud of 18-year-old Rachel, and I decided now, 3.5 years later, that it would be fun to reflect on my high school graduation speech. Now, I have not heard or read this speech literally since I graduated high school. The day I gave that speech was the last time I've ever heard it. And I found the papers that it was written on, and I decided I was going to read it to you guys. And I just kind of want to reflect, see what I think. I think I'm going to like it. I was so proud of this speech. I wanted to do something different. Everyone who gives a high school graduation speech gets on stage and talks about like all these super generic memories, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I want to inspire people. And so that's how I wrote this speech. I based it on that. And here it is. I'm going to read it to you guys. I might cry. I used to not cry over anything. Like, I cried so little I wondered if it was problematic. But now I cry all the time, and I'm okay with that. But I cry over things usually pertaining to change, and this definitely involves that. So I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but I'm gonna stop talking and go ahead and get reading. I am gonna say I'm skipping the introduction paragraph because it's just me saying like good evening and welcoming people, and those people probably aren't watching this. So good evening, beautiful people. Here's my graduation speech. Also, if I sound sick, it's because I am. I've tested negative for COVID twice, but we might need a third test. Good evening. During the course of my entire life, I have spent a small portion of it amassing words and adding them to my somewhat extensive lexicon. Throughout the past 4 years, I've been exposed to intricate words that I put to use to pass vocabulary tests, score higher on AP exams, and sometimes to merely confuse an innocent bystander. Although I know the meanings of a multitude of complex words, the one I am choosing to discuss today is a simple word I learned at an early age. That word is choice. An act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. Today, I made the choice to give a speech not composed of semi-boring stories about generic events that I have experienced throughout my high school, or recite flowery quotes more than likely spoken by some famous dead guy. I decided not to waste my time or yours talking about my GPA, awards I've received, or other typical things that you would only politely pretend to be interested in for the time being, and once I exit the stage, you would proceed to dismiss from your memory. I made the decision to base this speech upon a discovery I stumbled upon not by chance, but because of my choices, in hopes that it would somehow remain in your mind for longer than 5 minutes. My fellow graduates, at this point in your lives, you may believe the only choices you've ever made consist of the letters A, B, C, or D. But whether you realize it or not, you have made a plethora of decisions over the course of your lifetime. In fact, the average person makes 35,000 decisions each day. Every choice you've ever made has led you to this exact moment in this precise period in time. You were sitting in this room wearing these clothes, listening to an 18-year-old girl give a rather unusual commencement speech, all due to your decisions. At this point in your life, it may seem that attending school every day for the past 13 years was not a choice, but merely a requirement. While we were taught to believe that, I must inform you that that is not exactly the truth. You see, At any point in our lives, we could have skipped getting on the school bus and set out in the direction of a new city with nothing but adventure in mind. There are an infinite number of things we could have done and places we could have gone, but we didn't, simply because staying in school and getting an education was the rational option. There are two types of choices in this world, rational and irrational. The reason that we often believe that we are limited to one choice is because we automatically mark off the irrational selection. We're so afraid of doing things that make us feel discomfort at the slightest because we fear failure. I cannot lie and tell you that you will never fail in life, because you and I both know that that is not the truth. And sometimes you have to accept the fact that you may fail and choose to make that irrational decision so that you can reach for the things that your soul desires. Do the things that make your hands tremble and your heart race, because these are the things that will make you feel truly alive. These may be the things that shape you into the person you've always dreamed of becoming. Whether you were sitting in this room as an 18-year-old graduate, an 83-year-old woman, a young boy, or anyone in between, you still have the opportunity to make choices that shape you and shape the world around you. You have the power to choose who you become and where you end up. You exist as you are and where you are because of a series of choices. The whole world merely exists as it is because of the choices that have been made. So, look at your life. Have you tucked your dreams away in a drawer and just gone through life doing the same boring routine that drags on? Or have you taken the leap of faith and begun chasing your dreams with outstretched arms? You get to decide who you are and what you achieve. Is the greatest title you will ever have graduate of Nicholas County High School? Will you be the person who peaked in high school and failed to do the things they always claimed they would? Will these be the best 4 years of your life? Because despite what you have been told by your teachers, your future is truly up to you. I ask you to do one thing. I ask you to choose to not merely drift through life. Chase your dreams with outstretched arms and make the choice to become everything you've ever wanted and more. Make the choice to live. Thank you. Wow, that was cute. I knew I would like it. I'm really proud of 18-year-old Rachel for saying those things. There's definitely some things in there I was like, really? Like, I rolled my eyes at one part. I might edit that out, but I might not. Like, I definitely wanted to flex that I was smart. I definitely was trying to get that across, and I think it got across, but that's kind of obnoxious. I try to be a little more humble now. Maybe a slight flex here and there. I kind of think it was a little rude to ask if, like, the best title you're gonna have is Nicholas County High School graduate. Like, let people do what they want, Rachel. Like, that's a big accomplishment. Stop trying to downplay that. I think 21, almost 22-year-old Rachel would have been a little more compassionate, but 18-year-old Rachel was still growing. And I'm still growing, so it never stops. I talk about myself in the third person because I do feel a disconnect between who I was 3.5 years ago and who I am now, and I think that's only appropriate. Growing is something that I'm really focused on and really passionate about, and I feel like when you look on your past self, when years have passed, you shouldn't feel like the same person. You should feel connected to them, but you should be able to talk about them like they're a different person. I don't know, that's just kind of my goal. I think that 18-year-old Rachel is a wonderful person, but I hope that 21-year-old Rachel is a little bit better of a person, and I hope 22-year-old Rachel is an even better person, and so on. But yeah, I like that a lot. I do think that everything happens for a reason, that we are where we are because of choices that we've made, and I still stand by the fact that, like, we are where we are because of choices, and a lot of that does have to do with other people's choices, like our parents' choices, and then also you have to remember that you exist where you exist by chance. Like, I was born as a female with red hair in West Virginia to 2 people by chance, and that was out of my control, obviously. Hi, so I was just editing this video and I kind of had an epiphany, and I feel like I disagree with this speech a lot more than I thought. I think that it's kind of ignorant for me, someone who has had a lot of success in life, to just sit here and say that I've gotten exactly where I am because of all the choices I've made, when that's not really the truth. I think it's really important to consider that we are where we are because of circumstances, and some circumstances are built around making certain groups of people fail. And when you live in a place or work in a place or exist in a place where the system is built against you, that's not really fair. So yes, I do think that choices get you places in life. I think it takes you where you go, but we do need to consider that there are outside forces that work against us and maybe are for us. Maybe they're against us, maybe they're for us, and that it's not just us who's getting us where we're going. And I didn't want this video to be posted and me not say this opinion because I just feel like that's a little ignorant. So while I have worked extremely hard to get where I am, I have had a lot of good things going for me. I have parents who have done a lot to help get me where I am, but that doesn't take away from the fact of how hard I've worked for something. So I'm not trying to invalidate everything that I've done or anything that anyone else has done to get them where they are. I just think that it's important that we kind of look at the whole picture and understand that not everything is in our control. We control what we can control, and what we can't, we either have to accept it or try to remove ourselves from that situation. So I hope that this maybe gave you a different perspective if you were thinking the same way I was before. And I'm really thankful that I actually had this whole thought process because I think it's kind of opened my eyes to a lot of new things that are really important for us to understand so that we can go about making positive change. I'm glad that you guys got a little taste of 18-year-old Rachel, what it was like to know me as a senior in high school. But I hope that you also take the time to get to know present me and future me. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. I just kind of wanted to document this speech. I have it on DVD somewhere, but I thought YouTube would be a good selection. I'm still crying. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!